All right, time to finish off the show with rapid reactions. A lot of topics, a little bit of time. Take it away, Drink.
You know it. Let's roll, baby. Texas man basketball coach Shaka Smart is reportedly in talks to become the next head coach at Marquette. Does this news surprise you?
Oh, at face value, it did just a little bit, but you also got to remember 6 seasons at Texas. They've never won an NCAA tournament game. They had a good season this year, but losing to a 14 seed in the first round, not a great look. And he's a Wisconsin native, so there also is that angle to it. The Memphis Grizzlies are expecting forward Jaren Jackson Jr. to return from his left knee injury by the end of April. You looking forward to his return?
You know it. Listen, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Triple J fan, but I would say this: when he's in the lineup and when he's with Morant, like they got magic. The Memphis Grizzlies, they perform at a very high level compared to when he's not in the lineup. So looking forward to it. Do I think it's gonna make any much of a difference as far as the playoffs go? No, but at least he gets to come back, get back into the mix, and then get healthy and let's look on to next year. But I am excited that he's coming back. Tampa Bay reliever Nick Anderson has a partially torn ligament in his pitching elbow and will miss significant time, likely past the All Star break. Big deal, little deal, or no deal?
It's a big deal. Something about these relievers makes me say big deal. He's a critical part of that Tampa Bay bullpen, and we know how much Kevin Cash relies on his relief pitchers. He's one of their very best. And with that being said, I think it's going to be difficult to overcome. Not impossible, but before I see how they manage the bullpen without him, I think it is a big deal. Pretty wild NFL trade went down yesterday with the Dolphins trading the number 3 overall pick to the 49ers for the number 12 pick. And then the Dolphins traded that pick to the Eagles for the 6th pick. So which of these 3 teams benefited the most from these draft pick swaps?
I think the Dolphins benefited the most because they made the moves. But I think San Francisco did the better pick swap. They moved themselves in position to get a quarterback. What quarterback? Yet to see. 2 quarterbacks that I don't think going to be on the board by the time they pick. Trevor Lawrence, evidently, he's out of here. He already got a Jacksonville jersey on. And I think the kid, Zach Wilson, might be getting taken number 2. I think it's going to be, you know how the draft goes. It's going to be some movement happen, but I think that kid gets taken number 2. So then, San Francisco get their pick of the litter. So, I think, like I said, the 49ers got the better pick of all this, but I think the Dolphins made the most real estate for themselves by moving up and then moving back and so on and so forth. Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy was pretty excited after he heard quarterback Dak Prescott sign his long-term contract, saying he wanted to do cartwheels. Imagine that. He also called Prescott the keystone of the team. What do you make of his comments?
I want to do a lot of things in life too. Sadly, some of them are outside of my abilities. Mike McCarthy ain't doing no cartwheels, and Dak Prescott, I get it, $160 million, whatever. But if the Cowboys think Dak Prescott is going to be the keystone or whatever, they'll be 8-8, and they might make the playoffs with 8-8, but they're not going very far with Dak Prescott as a leading man. Same old story. Run the ball, Zeke Elliott. That's what you got to do. The Cardinals have signed veteran cornerback Malcolm Butler to a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million. We talked about the upcoming pressure on Cliff Kingsbury for the upcoming season. Did this signing add even more pressure?
I think it's possible that it did, but it's Malcolm Butler. Let's be real here. Malcolm Butler ain't done nothing since he got that interception in the playoff on the 1-yard line on Russell Wilson when they should have ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch. So we know that. What else you got? Like, I think he goes there if he plays well. All right, cool. If he don't play well, it's Malcolm Butler. I think for Cliff Kingsbury, personally, outside of J.J. Watt, I think because Malcolm Butler coming there to replace Patrick Peterson, per se. For all intents and purposes, that's why they signed him. And I think he will be held more accountable for the offensive mistakes than the defensive mistakes. So I do think it adds pressure just because it's a new signing, but it shouldn't get him fired, as some of the other moves I think would get him fired. Houston Astros shortstop Carlos Correa has rejected a 6-year, $120 million offer from his team and says he will not negotiate after the regular season starts. Your thought?
I cannot, under any circumstance, imagine turning down that amount of money. But he thinks the deal was a little disrespectful. So I'm a little concerned as an Astros fan, as you well know. I'm already, I'm still mourning the loss of George Springer. He went over there to Toronto. It's gonna be if I lose George Springer and Carlos Correa, it's gonna be tough. I may have to take some time off to go through to go through to go through the grieving stage. Anyway, let's move on. This evening on the Zone at the Europa Point Sports Complex in Gibraltar, it's a boxing heavyweight title main event for the WBC Interim World Heavyweight Championship. It's a number 6 ranked fighter by the WBC, Dylan White, versus Alexander Povechkin. Drink, the winner of this fight, who do they get next?
It's tricky. I think if White wins, he gets a name. I don't know about old Poopsins here. I don't know. The problem with both of these fighters is they have a history of PD exposure. Both of these guys. So that I think would it be a good win for either one of the fighters? Absolutely. But because of their history, I don't know if they'll get elite fighters yet because they proven themselves to be untrustworthy in the past. So we'll see. But I am looking at maybe a Luis Ortiz, a guy up in that tier. Maybe they get that. They don't get no Wilder. They don't get no Fury, Joshua. I don't even think neither one of these dudes get an Andy Ruiz at this point. So I'm gonna say maybe Luis Ortiz or some of that tier. The NCAA has revealed the budget for the 2018-2019 men's basketball tournament was $28 million, while the women's budget was almost half of that at $14.5 million. Does this information bother you?
Not really, because the men's $28 million budget ended up making like $850 million, and the women's budget wound up losing $3 million or something. So, nope, doesn't bother me.
Whoa.
Yes,
for real? It lost?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so it don't bother me one bit. But you still can't have the weight room looking like that, guys. Tonight it's UFC 260, Miocic versus Ngannou 2 on ESPN Plus pay-per-view at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The main event is a UFC heavyweight title rematch between the champs Stipe Miocic and the number 1 ranked contender Francis Ngannou. Who you got, Drink?
I'm taking Francis Ngannou in the rematch. Here's the deal: Stipe put on a clinic, a pure clinic in the first one. Showing how a knockout artist, the scariest man in the UFC, Francis Ngannou, how you maneuver around that. He actually took a punch or two and still survived it. The problem with this time around is if you try to use that strategy again, I think Ngannou is going to catch him, 1. And then 2, Stipe had been through a couple of wars since that fight, so he might be a little slower to the reaction. And I just don't think he can surprise Ngannou with the game plan that he did the first time. The first time, flawless victory. I mean, I love what he did. This time, I don't think so. I think Francis Ngannou catches him. I don't know what round because, Stipe is the GOAT when it comes to the heavyweight division. So, I think he catches him. I'm going to say 4th, 5th round, one of those 2 rounds, he gonna catch him. And once he catch you, you're out of here, folks. You don't live to talk about it. So he get him out of here in the 4th or 5th round, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a new heavyweight champion in the UFC.
All right, well, that concludes today's Drink of Wisdom. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the Sweet 16. Enjoy the Elite 8. Like, listen, share, subscribe. I'm Jay Wise.
And I'm Nathan Drinker. And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. When I say we, I'm talking about me and Jay.
Ooh.
We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.